Let's bring in Preet Bharara. He was a former U.S. attorney for the same Manhattan office handling the Giuliani case, the same office Giuliani once served in as U.S. attorney before he was elected to become mayor of New York City. Preet, your take on this raid, its significance, whether it possibly is overreach?
Well, I think it's very significant. Just as a matter of looking at the arc of Rudy Giuliani's career, he's not been charged. He may not be charged, but to take a step against any lawyer generally in this regard with a search warrant of devices and premises is a big deal, requires those approvals that Evan described. And to do it when that person was the lawyer to the former president of the United States is a very significant step. And so, he's fallen pretty far in terms of how far along this investigation is. I think, again, there's no way to conclude for certain whether or not there will be charges. But in a case like this, given the circumstances, given the status of Rudy Giuliani, how long the investigation has gone on, how aggressively it seems that the SDNY folks have been seeking to get the warrants, tried and failed before the election, tried and succeeded again now, I think there's a very high likelihood that they believe there are charges to be brought, and they may be pretty far along. Sometimes it's the case that you have a lot of evidence. It's not true that they're going to be getting some of the correspondence and electronic communications of Rudy Giuliani only because they've seized these devices now. You get those kinds of communications from third-party sources, AT&T, whoever. You get the devices because you want more evidence and you want confirmatory evidence and you want to see if there was destruction of evidence, which may have happened since Giuliani has known about this. But it's very, very significant. It's a very aggressive step. I know the folks at the SDNY. I hired a lot of them, and they would only do something like this that's so significant if they believed very strongly, based on the facts and the law, that there's something worthwhile pursuing here.
As Trump was leaving office, as you recall, Giuliani was front and center helping Trump promote the big lie about the election, falsely claiming there was mass voter fraud. Take a listen.
So, over the next 10 days, we get to see the machines that are crooked, the ballots that are fraudulent, and if we're wrong, we will be made fools of. Let's have trial by combat. I'm willing to stake my reputation. The president is willing to stake his reputation on the fact that we're going to find criminality there.
Now, there's no evidence that anything related to the post-election activities has anything to do with this investigation. But during that period, there were questions about whether Trump was going to give Giuliani and others a preemptive pardon. He did not do it. That privilege is gone. He can't pardon him now as a former president. No. Is there anything he can do in terms of asserting some sort of privilege, attorney-client privilege, presidential privilege in terms of his communications with Giuliani as his attorney?
Look, the great irony is it may be the case that the Justice Department that stymied the ability to do the search some months ago may have caused a delay in doing the search and maybe bringing charges. And had they not done that, it is conceivable that the Justice Department would have done the search, maybe even have brought charges sometime during the transition period, which probably would have prompted a pardon from Donald Trump. That's point one. Point two, yeah, look, you have to be very sensitive about information that you take from a lawyer. And there is an attorney-client privilege, which is why we'll probably be hearing in the coming days in court about the Southern District of New York employing, a filter team, sometimes people call it a taint team, to make sure that there's a group of lawyers and investigators who are looking at the documents and not impinging on any attorney-client relationship or privilege. That's an ordinary thing that exists in the law and has nothing to do with the fact that Donald Trump used to be the president of the United States. I don't think there's any executive privilege that applies here. Rudy Giuliani was his personal lawyer, as far as I know. But yeah, that will be something that will be litigated and be talked about, assuming that there's information that falls into that category.
Giuliani hasn't said anything publicly about this, to my knowledge, but his son Andrew, who is a former White House aide and also is considering running for governor of New York, came out and spoke to the media not long ago. He said this showed an out-of-control Justice Department, the politicization of the Justice Department, and that the federal agents seized everything in the apartment except the one thing that was actually incriminating, and that thing was not incriminating of his father, Rudy Giuliani, but was incriminating of Hunter Biden. What's your reaction?
Look, I've overseen, lots and lots and lots of prosecutions. When prosecutors and agents take an investigative step or bring a charge, they are infrequently sent flowers and chocolates from their targets. That is a thing that people say. That is a thing that the relatives of people say. That is a thing that has been taken to an art form, whether good art or bad art, depending on your perspective, by Giuliani, his family members, and people around him, attack the people who are bringing the case. Rudy Giuliani himself was the United States attorney, as you pointed out, and had this happen to him. I filter all that out. Let's see what the facts show. Let's see what the evidence shows, and let's see what actions publicly are taken by that office.
We know that there are the crimes relating to lobbying on behalf of a foreign government, but a lot of times those crimes in previous years were regarded as paperwork crimes, not necessarily particularly serious. This is a very dramatic step to raid Rudy Giuliani's office. This is more dramatic than raiding Michael Cohen's office, and that ended with Michael Cohen in prison. What crimes could they be investigating here that would be that serious, that would merit such a dramatic action by the Justice Department?
Well, they have to set that out in the search warrant affidavit in support of the warrants. So, it'd be great if you and I could read that. So we don't know. But what we do know is, some of Rudy Giuliani's associates have been accused of, in the same court, the Southern District of New York, of campaign finance violations, straw donor violations. There's the swirling question of what other things might have been going on with respect to the payments of, I'm speculating about all this here, but your question is a good one, about transfers of money from foreign individuals, foreign nationals, into a campaign, presidential campaign or other campaigns. There could be money laundering issues that go on when you have transfers of money based on, false pretenses. Some of what Lev Parnas and Igor Fruman are charged with is a fraud with respect to this company, fraud guarantee. And again, I don't know if this is true or not, and I don't know if those folks are giving information about Rudy Giuliani, but that could be part of it as well.